Hello, my wonderful friends. Meg is here on a beautiful day in Asha. You probably recognize this spot here. This is where the Megas channel began, and it is a beautiful, sacred space. When I come into this space, I make sure I come clean, no fear, no low frequencies, and this environment, it reflects that. When I come to this place, I come knowing I'm going to receive from Spirit and commune with Spirit. Today's video is the 10 best spiritual books, and I am so excited to share them with you. And what's funny is I show you my favorites and we count down. That's not the order that they came to me, yet they're all a part of me. You know, when people ask me, what religion are you? I always say Zoroastrian so people can categorize it. That's what they like to do. And they can kind of understand where I'm coming from. But it's so much more than that. You'll see the 10 books I've chosen. There's Islam, there's Hindu, there's Christian, there's Zoroastrian, there's Taoism. My friends, those are all in my top 10 spiritual books. And they're all a part of my religion, of my belief. And even though I say I'm Zoroastrian, if someone was really asking and wanted to sit down and discuss it, I would say I'm an Asha. I'm a truth knower. You know, one time I was taken in spirit in that place between awake and asleep, and I looked at Jesus eye to eye, and I asked him, because I know I've got the master before me. I want to ask this question that's been on my heart forever. I always thought to myself, if I sat before one of the great masters, this is what I would ask him. And I said, what is this life, this world all about? And he said, it's to know the real above all real. My friends, the real, it's the truth. It's that holy Om. It's the perfect creator's perfect idea. It's the frequency that he made the world with. And it's the place we always desire to live in. It's good, right? It's the only thing that could come from the perfect creator's perfect mind. And when we're not living in that real, in that truth, we feel off. We're always seeking. And I found that real. I found that truth in Asha. So, as you guys already knew, my all-time favorite book is Asha, of course. What is Asha? It's the teachings of the Magi. It's the original monotheistic religion. It's Zarathustra's Gathas, and it's the Avesta. So here's my Zoroastrian books coming right out in front, of course. Asha, Gathas, Avesta, and then this little orange book that totally blew my mind. Next, I get into the science of mind with Ernest Holmes. This chunker, it is amazing. I had never, up to this point, read anything like this. And I shared the story with you. My friend in Florida, he credited this book for setting him free from OCD. But of course, it was also, he did give me, it was Asha, and it was me coming every day and meditating on the truth he had found in this book and in Asha together. But Science of Mind, beautiful. Next, the Dowy Ching. Now, I don't agree with everything in all these books, right? But I ate the meat and spit out the bones, right? I gleaned. I took what was for me. I might read a book and 10 pages were just for me, what I was asking Spirit that I needed to know. And I'm able to look at it all and take what I need and leave what I don't. But I got some beautiful, beautiful truths in the Dowy Ching. There was a time I read this every morning with my cup of coffee. Oh, speaking of my cup of coffee, I wish you guys were here right now. You could smell the candles. I've got some Nag Champa incense burning. the smell is amazing. And then I got my coffee here with, can you see it's steaming? It's still got a little bit of warmth left to it with vanilla creamer. Oh, just the smells in here. Amazing. I think it'd be beautiful if we all one day get to meet and you could come into my library and smell the smells and feel the feels. Next up, Yoga Sutras. Yoga Sutras, yoga, union. It's union with you and God. And when you realize, at least the right God, because there's many gods, right? Especially in Hinduism. But for me, again, I'm gleaning and I'm getting that oneness with that Zoroastrian God, God good, that highest principle of good, that is the protection and the peace and the joy and the love and holding that spirit, that frequency. My friends, perception is the main thing I got out of the Yoga Sutras, and about that our perception that we hold is going to create a reality. Now, it might not be that real above all real like we were talking about, but it will seem very real to you for the good or the bad. So we want to make sure we're holding the right perceptions. So this, I grabbed this one. It's poems of mystics, but it represents a stack of books I have. The Sufi poets, the Sufi songwriters and musicians were such a huge influence in my spiritual journey. I love Sufi music. I love their poetry, their love for God, their beloved, my friends. And it just moves me so much. So that's the Sufi poetry. And now, I'm not even getting into all that. I'm going to leave it at that. Autobiography of a Yogi. This just got me dreaming. This kind of book where you think anything is possible. It's written to me like a novel, even though it's a spiritual book. And about Paramahansa Yogananda, how as a child he's like trying to run away to the Himalayas to live in a cave, like adventure and be a yogi. But then his parents kept bringing him back and chasing him down. But he finally got to end up living his dream, bringing yoga to America. Love this book so much. I highly recommend all of them, but especially that one. Carl Jung and the Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious. Now, sometimes you think of psychiatry and you don't think of spiritual, but Jung was very spiritual. He was the understudy of Freud, and he went his own way because he had higher ideas, And one thing that stuck to me that I has become a part of my teaching is that what we hold in our collective, or our subconscious mind, what we hold in the subconscious mind, it will show in our world. What we hold in our hearts, the beliefs that we hold, you can actually know your future if you know yourself, because what you believe is what your world's going to show. Again, your perceptions, right? It's like the Yoga Sutras. Back to the Christian Science, if I didn't mention it, well, you probably figured it out, though. The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, it is Christian Science. And Mary Baker Eddy, Science and Health and Key to the Scriptures. So this is some of my first books. Before I was just Bible, if you knew me, right? I carried a Bible everywhere with me, kind of like I do with my Asha now. And I was going to be a preacher. I went to Bible college. I was being raised up to that my whole life. And so the Bible was my book. But then I started coming into these, because something was missing in my spiritual life. I knew it. I knew the Bible through and through. I knew what everyone told me, but something was missing. Something was off. This was my journey to starting to find out what that was, to get to the place I am now. And it started with Mary Baker Eddy, Science and Health, Key to the Scriptures. Now, would I recommend these to people today? I don't know. It depends on where you're at on your journey. If you feel led, though, maybe you read a little bit of it. I remember reading this and my mind just being alone. I mean, this book, it's practically falling apart, and it's, you know me, it's all highlighted and underlined. And I mean, same with this book here, Unveiling Your Hidden Power, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Metaphysics for the 21st Century. And these books were just, I mean, opened me up to a world I just didn't even know existed. And I don't know if you guys have, maybe some of you are new, you haven't seen inside of my books, but they're always just written in and underlined and highlighted. That's how they become my best friends. I read them over and over. And again, the covers are falling off. The pages are worn. And every time I read it, sometimes I'll go through with a different color highlighter. And sometimes I'll just read a page and just meditate on it and think about it and try to hold those frequencies, you know. And then I've got this honorable mention here I have to talk about. This is T.L. Osborne, Healing the Sick. Hold on one sec. You guys still with me? What are we, 11 minutes into it? I gotta wet the whistle. That's too good to let get cold. T.L. Osborne in Healing the Sick. This was a hero of mine. This is who I wanted to be when I was a young man. This is who I kind of held as, you know, my thought of what my future would look like. And something so beautiful happened. I finally got to meet him. He was in Los Angeles doing he was quite old at this time. I mean, I think he died maybe a year later, if that. And he was talking at a church, and he was there for 2 or 3 nights. And before he would leave, everyone would close their eyes to pray, and then they'd lead him out. And so by the 3rd night, I realized what was going on, and I needed to see him. I needed to talk to him. Excuse me. I think I'm talking too much as usual. So as everyone bowed their head and they're getting ready to lead him out the back, I go running and cut them off. And I said, I'm so sorry to bother you. And you could see the security and the other pastor, they're looking at me like, what are you doing, son? And I said, sir, you are a hero of mine. I love you so much. I just had to tell you that. And he's like, well, come here and give me a hug then. So I got a big hug from him. And I felt almost like he transferred something to me. And almost like a mantle. And even though I don't consider myself a Christian, I still feel like we're on the same mission to bring truth, to bring healing, to bring a better world, to bring love. My friends, and so this book I keep, and it's very special to me. It reminds me of that. So there are my favorite spiritual books. Are any of these yours? And I'd love to know, go to the comments and tell me what are some of your favorite spiritual books. I love you.